Hello and welcome. Today I'm talking to you about the Doom collection for the Evercade, as that has been formally announced and the details revealed. Now everyone's doing videos for this, and I'm sure all these details are already covered in that or in those, but I'm going to try and go over those and share some thoughts. So the Doom collection is releasing on October 30th. It contains Dooms 1 and 2. And these are ports of the PC version, but they are new ports or rebuilt. They're not the same as the Night's Dive re-release from a year or two back, whenever that was. Although they are naturally rebuilt from the same thing. Content-wise, they are very similar, near on identical, at least on paper. So what is included, naturally, is Doom 1 and 2, as well as the master levels for Doom 2, which features levels originally created by authors in the Doom community and then curated by id Software. It also includes TNT Evolution, which features half the levels found in Final Doom, and the Plutonia Experiment, which also includes the other levels from Final Doom. These two feature another 64 levels, combined that is. No Rest for the Living is a 9 level mission pack. Sigil, which was originally released for Doom's 25th anniversary, is another 9 levels, as is Sigil 2, which was released for Doom's 30th anniversary, and finally includes Doom Deathmatch Pack, which is exactly what it says, a collection of maps for deathmatch levels, or, as you'd expect, given the name. The clue is in the name, obviously. Anyway, I think it's safe to say that even if you're just playing single player between Doom 1 and 2 and the various expansion packs, there's going to be an absolute shit ton of gameplay hours here. But about that multiplayer, it offers up to 4-player split screen action, or at least on the Evercade VS it does. On the Alpha, I believe it is only 2-player split screen, but given the size of the screen that makes sense. Also the limitations of controller ports. Naturally, you won't be able to do split screen multiplayer on the original Evercade, the Super Pocket, or the Evercade EXP and EXPR, but thanks to Eversync, the Evercade Nexus will be able to offer up to 2-player. Now, they have described the Eversync features as something that will be continued to be worked on, and I don't know if it will display split screen on both screens when you're playing via Eversync, or if you'll have your own full screen action. I guess these things are yet to be revealed. I mean, it would make sense if you had your own individual screen area to play on, but given the Eversync works by essentially mirroring the screen on the other console, I don't know if that's how it would work. Really, as the Nexus isn't even out yet and very few people have had a chance to have a hands-on, it's really hard to say either way at the moment. The question is, what is unique to the Evercade version? Well, as mentioned, they are in-house ports, they're native to the Evercade and they have exclusive features. They've added in-game modifiers for both single player and multiplayer. Added various game modes, such as chaos matches, tag and what have you. They've even added an insta-gib mode, or is it insta-gib? I mean, the gib or jib from insta-gib stands for giblets, because essentially you shoot your enemies and they immediately explode into giblets. So I'd say insta-gib, but insta-gib just, I don't know, when you look at it and read it, it looks like insta-gib. Apparently the idea overall was to make it something like GoldenEye's split screen multiplayer action on the N64. So it'll be really interesting to see just how much they've added. Apparently there are double damage modes, double enemies, turbo enemy modes, shotgun close quarter kills where there's a chance the enemies will explode on, when being shot with a shotgun. Apparently an insta-kill railgun as well. Also, the controls have been optimised for each piece of Evercade hardware, with a specific control scheme for the Super Pocket, and the use of analog sticks on the Nexus, and if you're playing with an analog stick controller on the VS or Alpha. Also, you have some soundtrack options, with it including the soundtrack version by Andrew Hushalt, if I've said that correctly, as well as MIDI options, for the original experience. And that's about as much as I know of at the moment. There may be more little details that come out, when Blaze do a Doom deep dive. But even as it is, I think that sounds pretty cool. Also revealed was the Doom edition of the Evercade Nexus, which is limited to 3,000 units. That's the word I was looking for, units. which goes on sale later today because it is at time of recording about 1 AM on the 7th of August 2026, and it goes on sale at 3 PM, that's UK time obviously, and 10 AM Eastern time, or Eastern Standard Time, whatever you call it. I don't really keep up with time zones and their names that well. This includes a comic, a keyring, a hard case, a double-sided poster and things, and it retails for £199. And I might have to get one if I can, although I think it's going to sell out pretty damn quickly. Anyway, so looking at this announcement as a whole, I mean, there was a leak and there wasn't much shocking about this apart from the finer details of what they're adding with the multiplayer modes and things like that. But I'm happy with it. It is largely what I expected. And I very much like Doom, and I haven't played any of these expansion packs to any great degree. I have played Final Doom. I don't think I ever finished it, so I haven't played all of these levels, but I think all these other ones will be new to me. One thing that I have seen said a number of times, and I do understand where these comments are coming from, is that the Night Dive remasters, or whatever you call them, that were done in 2024 are available everywhere and they're quite cheap digitally. So why would you want to pay £25 or $30 or whatever it is in your region for a cartridge of the same thing where you can get it much cheaper? Well, let's start with the obvious thing. Evercade, physical media, I mean, that is part of the draw of Evercade, so if you want that, then surely it's a no-brainer. But if we look aside from that and you say you're not overly fussed about physical media and you only buy the carts that you specifically want to get, well, obviously you'd have to want to get Doom, just as you would if you're going to buy it digitally. But of course then there is the price factor, and I think really a lot's going to come down to how much you're going to play it and how much you're going to take advantage of the multiplayer aspect, or how much you're going to play it handheld. I mean, sure, you can play it on the Switch, but if you don't have a Switch, then yeah, it's a different matter, I suppose. For myself, as you can no doubt tell, I will be picking it up, not just because I'm a full setup, I'm actually quite excited to play Doom again. Even though I've had it on other systems for years, I tend to have just played the first few levels, put it down and not come back to it. So on Evercade I will finally get round to playing it through again for the first time since the 90s. Anyway, I think it's an exciting announcement and no doubt it's going to do well. Although it's going to be interesting to see just how much the split screen multiplayer does act as a draw. I think it's cool that it works with the Eversync. I mean, they would have been insane not to do something with it, to be perfectly honest. I actually suspect it was one of the main driving forces for the creation of the Eversync. Something that I did notice is that it's called the Doom Collection, strongly suggesting there will be just the one. And many people said, well, what about Doom 64? Well, I'd assume it potentially could run on the Evercade, and maybe we might see it in the future, not on another Doom collection, but on an id Software collection. I don't think that's outside the realms of possibility. But speaking of which, what more could we see from id Software? Aside from an id Software collection, that is. And if we got one, what would it include? I mean, Wolfenstein 3D is a shoo-in, obviously. Maybe Quake. What about Hexen and Heretic? Maybe Commander Keen? Although I believe there's some rights issues there, but maybe one or two of the games perhaps. But I wonder if a Quake collection is more likely. Again, it could be much like the Doom collection with Quakes 1 and 2, some extras, and maybe even a variation on Quake 3 Arena. Maybe. This is all to say, I don't think we've seen the last of id Software on the Evercade. At least I hope we haven't. But I also hope that, if it does happen, that it doesn't happen for, well, maybe about a year. Space these things out, because we don't want too many carts that are very similar, and most of id Software stuff does come down to being first-person shooters and of a specific era. Well, of the id Software games that would actually run on the Evercade anyway. Still, we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. Anyway, I think I've rabbited on enough about this, so I'll wrap it up here. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.